Up to 30 times faster? Did Blackmagic Design just fix the M1 Ultra? Well, today we will find out because we reran a ton of our tests and new ones to show you guys how much faster this is. And with that, we are gonna be answering some very important questions you guys asked in Monday's video, our ultimate video editing comparison that is jam-packed of real-world results, as well as talk about some bottlenecks with M1 Ultra and when we can expect updates and fixes from an insider that was talking to us. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, first off, I wanna say that video was a crazy video to make. You guys don't know how much time and effort went into that. All those graphs with the crazy charts, testing, retesting, it was insane. So if you guys haven't seen that yet and you care about video editing, please check it out. It is still very, very relevant. And right after we posted, after so much work, days of work, Blackmagic Design released DaVinci Resolve 18, which was a bummer. And so many of you guys wanted us to test it because of that 30 times faster, optimized for M1 Ultra. Well, let's jump into the results here. I'm gonna start out with some of the bad news and then we'll get into the good news. Well, for denoising 4K Blackmagic RAW, previously we saw 20 frames per second playback. This is very tough denoising here. And with the new update, we are still right there, 19 to 20 frames per second, just like before. Now, this test shows us the raw graphics performance. It is not limited by anything else. So the raw graphics performance of a 64 core M1 Ultra is still the same. And here's the scores from the other Mac studios. And using that raw graphics performance to stabilize a 1 minute 4K clip, well, we are now actually 1 second slower. Now, how about the encoders? Apple advertised quad encoders on the M1 Ultra, meaning it should export twice as fast as the M1 Max models, and we have not seen that yet. Well, unfortunately, our export times are identical, both for H.264 and H.265, where actually it got a few seconds slower. And then during playback for smoothness, both of these versions can handle this without an issue, but in fact, with DaVinci Resolve 18, it actually uses more graphics performance to play this back, which was interesting. Now, the biggest media engine limitation we saw was with Canon R5 footage. This is very difficult, and with all these programs, the export times were identical. That's because we're limited by the decoders, and unfortunately, nothing has changed. 4K RAW is 3 seconds slower now, and ProRes is 2 seconds slower. What a bummer. Now, let's jump into some areas that we did see improvements in. For example, 8K RAW, this was the toughest torture test. That is actually about 25 seconds faster. Not a huge difference, but we actually did see an improvement. Playback was still the same, and then 8K Red RAW, there it's actually 5 seconds slower. Now, these are areas with these tougher codecs where we are not limited by any encoders, it's just pure graphics performance. And these are areas that we did not see good scaling compared to the 48 core and not amazing compared to the 24 core Mac Studio that I suggested to a lot of people. So as far as graphics and that performance of the M1 Ultra and especially the higher end one, we are not seeing great improvements. Now, I wanted to take a step further because on their website, we see these claims of 30 times faster playback. And then so I went ahead and I did some searches for Mac so we can see exactly what they said. And here we have for the M1 Mac models, 30 times playback, but that's considering the neural engine. And then as far as M1 Ultra, I did a search and we have that mentioned 4 times. First time is just saying that it's really fast and powerful, that's great. Second time is talking about Dolby Vision and then the updates there, that is awesome. And here's where we have that 30 times faster for M1 Ultra, but with more details. So if we take a closer look, it says that we have support for the M1 Ultra, it means faster playback than before, a 30 times faster playback on multicam 8K timelines. Okay, that's great. What kind of format? What kind of timelines? What are the settings at? I did some testing, I didn't see any improvements. So I don't know if they just chose a codec that completely didn't work and is playing back at 1 frames per second because it was stalling out for multicam. That was fixed and now it's playing back at 30 frames per second like it should. That is a 30 times improvement, but unfortunately, they don't give us any info, just that tagline that people were quoting everywhere commenting because it just sounds so amazing. Now, they also talk about a couple of really cool things and improvements as far as the neural engine. Now, I wanted to go ahead and test it out. What if now they've unlocked the better dual neural engines for the M1 Ultra? That would be awesome. So I ran some of their AI tools that use the neural engine and the graphics. The first one was super scale. I took a 1080p project and then I super scaled it, which uses the neural engine and AI algorithms, to 4K. It reduces noise and compression artifacts. And I basically saw a small improvement as far as rendering out that footage so that it's actually playable. Not a big difference at all. So that was a bit disappointing. So then I went ahead and I used their Smart Reframe for social media, which is an amazing tool. It works super great. So I took that 6-minute project and I automatically reframed it for vertical video. And here it took 33 seconds instead of 35. So yes, it has gotten faster, but not much at all. Nothing that's gonna change your life, nothing that fixes the M1 Ultra, and nothing that people are so hyped about with those kind of 30 times faster claims that don't have any kind of backing. Now, if you guys have more info about what specifically was fixed, let me know down below. But this is just where companies go out and they wanna market their products and make it sound amazing, and it works. And just like Apple, where they released the previous MacBooks, and a lot of times they're saying 3 times faster, but they're actually comparing to older Intel machines that are really outdated. And here at MaxTech, we guys show you guys real world results for what we're getting. Now, I do want to say that DaVinci Resolve is already the most optimized. If you guys didn't catch it in my video editing comparison, their program is actually better optimized for Apple Silicon, the 17 version, than Final Cut Pro. Final Cut throttles the GPU in our torture test, and the 48 core ran at like 900 megahertz, where this one will actually run at the full 1297 or so. And then the 64 core, instead of running at about 700, ours runs at about 1127. So that means that the data is coming in much better to the GPU to get processed. That is just crazy to see that a third-party company is doing better than Apple themselves for their hardware. So good job, DaVinci Resolve. You guys were already doing a killer job. Now, I want to answer some questions and then also give you guys some insider info. First, let's go over a couple of these comments right here. Jennifer said that we saved her almost 2,000 euros because she changed her configuration knowing that she would have no extra benefits for that higher end one. And I just say that is awesome. This is what we love to do. We love to save you guys money and help you guys make informed decisions. Pete mentioned that it's normal for higher end graphics to not scale properly. And I would say, yes, that's true. The higher end it gets, you don't get perfect scaling, but we also shouldn't be getting the same performance as a GPU that has 48 cores instead of 64, because this new one is downclocking its frequency. That is just because of unoptimizations and just the GPU not working properly. So this is not really the same thing. Now, Mario says that these machines will not be optimized for years to come. There's gonna be a lot of time that's gonna be spent to make this happen. And I think that yes, we have to wait for that, but at the same time, if you are gonna be waiting 2 years, say, for optimizations to come, why not just buy the one that already is working well, like the M1 Max models that we showed off how well they work in our previous video. And with that, the Maxidus, he's saying that what if they're doing this to constrain the CPU or GPU for the M2 versions? No, I talked about that in my previous don't buy video, where they might not be doing it intentionally, but they definitely aren't unlocking any more performance than what you can get in their laptops with the M1 Max models. Even though we have a lot of cooling, we don't have batteries, they could be raising the frequency to get better performance like a lot of companies do, but they are not. And that does help the M2 stand out more. When they come out, they're better optimized, the hardware is better, the frequencies are higher, they'll give a much bigger jump in performance. Now, about our insider leak or info, basically what we are hearing is that we will get some good optimizations. It won't be double, but there will be more improvements, but it's gonna happen on a software level for some specific tasks where Apple's gonna change up some things. But That is not gonna happen until the next version of macOS. And last year it was shown off at WWDC, that's gonna be in June, but it did not come out until October when new Macs came out. So for those of you guys that want to have better encoding speeds with these quad encoders, that's probably gonna be the soonest that we are gonna be able to access that, just the way Apple does it and the way their video engine toolbox works. So there you guys go. For all of you guys that were commenting saying, hey, you guys missed the boat, DaVinci Resolve 18 is so much faster, those of you guys that asked us to test it, this is what we found. And unfortunately, no, the M1 Ultra is still not that great of a deal for most people, especially not the 64 core model. And for most people, unless you know you need the extra CPU or just the raw graphics power, we would suggest the M1 Max models. Thank you guys for watching. Check out our ultimate video editing comparison. There's so much testing, there's so much detail with Premiere Pro and Resolve and Final Cut. You guys definitely want to see it. I'll see you guys in the next video.